Hello. Thanks to everyone that subscribed yesterday. Sorry for being a bit whingy, but it may have worked because I got a few. And Earthling Carl, if you watch this, really appreciate that, mate. That was very nice of you to put me on your subscriber list. That's very decent of you. Anyway, so I got a few more. Anyway, so I'm reinvigorated today to carry on. So I'm going to do a couple of videos. First one's on the NHS. So this news this morning, the government's thinking about just investing more money into the NHS, and it's very, very government idea in it. Let's just throw money at something that'll make it worse. Throw money at a company that doesn't know how to control itself. You know, like, I'm terrible with money and I just spend what I earn and I don't save properly. I've always been terrible with money, and all I need is loads, masses, and I'll be fine. Honest. No, I just need to get myself in order. I need to work a bit more and not spend as much. Okay, it helped when maybe I'm not paying so many expenses to my ex-wife. Anyway, right, so don't give the NHS more money. Make them organise themselves properly. And what they're likely to do is just cut away money from where it's needed. You know, the auxiliary staff, nurses, doctors, that sort of thing. You know, and they need to cut the management and the middle management. But what really needs to happen is they need to sort out their contracts, because they've got to stop being protected. They need to be accountable for their mistakes, accountable for the decisions that end up losing money for the NHS, because private businesses wouldn't tolerate someone that was continually making bad decisions that was costing money. Well, some businesses might. Those businesses will probably go out of business, but the NHS, it doesn't matter, because they just keep coming to the taxpayer for more money. So I think you've got to get all their contracts, and they've got to sign new ones, and those contracts have to hold them accountable. So if you're going to give you an example, right, when I was working in a hospital in Bristol as a chef, right, I was agency staff. I'll go into that side of things as well in a minute. They needed a new oven. Right? These big sort of combination ovens, they are very, very expensive, but extremely, extremely good bits of kit. And at that time, this oven would have been around about £8,000. Now it'd probably be like 12 or more, 12 to 15,000. Now they weren't allowed. They had a middleman. They had a contractor they were supposed to go through, and the price was double. So it was about £16,000 they had to pay. And so they went directly to the manufacturer and said, "Can we buy this directly from you?" And he said, "Yeah, of course you can." £8,000. They bought it, done. This middleman found out about it, kicked off stink, has got it in his contract that they have to buy every bit of, whatever kit through them, and that hospital had to give this middleman an extra, whatever it was, £8,000. Who gave that middleman a contract? Who signed off on that? I'm going to assume it's senior management, NHS, possibly even politicians. I'm guessing senior management, NHS. Why would they? I suspect foul play here. I suspect that company goes to said executive in the NHS. Yeah, you give me the contract, I'll supply that, and this is my prices. And they said, "Well, that's an awful lot more money to pay, isn't it?" I said, "Well, don't worry, we'll give some to you." I know, it's an outrageous thing to suggest, isn't it? But that's what goes on. I'm convinced of it, and it goes on in all government places. There's willy-nilly dishing out contracts to contractors, and where they know that it's going to be costing the NHS more money, but they don't give a toss, because it's not their money, is it? Coming out of taxpayers' money. Got to get hold of those contracts, and you've got to make them clear that they will be audited on, once a year, what have you, on their performance. And also on the decisions like that. Why have you ordered this contract like that? Right, okay, so we're going to need to look into your bank account then, aren't we? You could argue that a lot of them would just refuse to sign it, and you'd have to pay them off. But you should do it. Like, if you've got a gangrenous wound on your leg, you don't just plaster it up. You cut it off, unfortunately. You lose the leg. But you're better off in the long run, because that leg will kill you. That's quite a good analogy. If you work in the NHS and you disagree with me, and you think they already are, there's already those regulations in place, I disagree with you, because I've also worked there and I've seen it firsthand. But, chip in. But also, if you work in NHS and you can back me up on that, that'd be great. Thank you. Or if you know a nurse, ask them about it. Also, so I was doing agency work and did a lot of work in hospitals in and around the Bristol area. And as I was working in this one place, at a BRI, for potentially up to about 2 years I was working there. Towards the end, when I left, almost everyone in there, the catering team, was agency. And the reason for that is they pay crap money and they put pressure, unnecessary pressure on those staff. You know, the Indians get it, right? The chiefs dish it out, the Indians get it. And as the time went on, more and more left and then just came straight back in through an agency because they were on more money. So say, let's just go by today's standards, right? Say, what's the minimum wage? Just sort of between £7-8 ish. So say you're working for minimum wage, you can leave, come back and do the same job, and you're on, say, £11 an hour. Right? You do it, don't you? But then the agency is also going to be getting something like £10 or £11 an hour. So the NHS then is paying more than double what they would pay that same person when they were working just for them. Yeah, you could argue that there's no holiday entitlements, no sick pay, etc., no pensions, but it doesn't cover it. They're wasting massive amounts of money, and you've got to ask, why would you do that? Is it just lazy? Is it sloppiness? Possibly sloppiness, but I just think it's possibly it's corrupt again. You know, who's to say that the executive of this said agency, and I'm just talking about a catering agency now, isn't just saying to them, yeah, well, you know, we'll pay all that extra money, you'll pay that extra money, but we'll give a little bit back to you. I think so. And nurses, it's even more. Nursing staff, so many nurses leave, go back to the same ward with no responsibility, and probably treble the money they were on before. Something ridiculous. It's an absolute cancer, and it's got to stop. So people that make those decisions for those contracts have to be sorted out. Also, yeah, I did a video a while ago on the unclaimed expenses from the health services across Europe. So, you know, you got those little cards, those health insurance cards that probably you got if you go on holiday. I've got one. So if I was in Portugal, Spain, France, what have you, and I get ill and I need some treatment on their health service, they will bill the NHS, and they will bill the NHS, and the NHS will pay. But the NHS is very sloppy and lazy and doesn't follow up all. And there's something like about a £500 million deficit on what they claimed for what they paid, and it's outrageous. So all of those points there, I would say, if you just carry on throwing money at the NHS, you might as well just throw it down the drain. It's wasted. They have to be reformed. And pissing in the wind ain't going to happen. I'm just getting it off my chest. But, you know, if enough people kick off about it, maybe there's something happen. But yeah, you basically, I'm just putting myself in the position of an executive who's being given this new contract, hates the new contract because it means he's going to be accountable, which means he can't carry on making the terrible decisions he's making, or her. Let's be inclusive here, or trans, you know, the. But they've got to be accountable. They probably won't sign it. They'll have to take their redundancy, but you're better off. Get that gangrenous leg off. It's short-term pain for long-term good. And that is my view on the NHS. I'd love to hear your comments, please, if you don't mind. And as usual, thumbs up and subscribe. If you're new, please subscribe. I love it. Bye.